Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, Sonny Blanco. What's going down, man? How you doing, man?
Yo, welcome to my crib, man. Y'all come check it out. Let's chop it up, talk about it.
Yes, sir. Let's get it in, man. Appreciate you having me, man. Yeah, man. I appreciate that, boss.
Boom. Yo, y'all check it out, man. We finna do the interview, chop it up, talk to y'all. He gonna ask some questions and see if I got the answers for him. Y'all welcome. Come on in and check it out.
Hey, man, welcome back to another episode of Exclusive Media TV, man. Who we got in front of the camera, man? Introduce yourself.
Peace and love. It's Sonny Blanco from Chicago, South Side. You know, hip hop artist, independent artist, trying to take my music to the next level. You know, that's who I am. I'm down here down south right now, chilling in the Texas area. You know, and that's what it is.
Okay, so before we dive deep into the interview, what made you move on to Houston? What caused you to move down here? Was it for opportunity, weather? What was the point of you moving out here?
It was a combination of both. You know, my family been out here, the weather, you know, opportunities. Hopefully, you know, I still got opportunities in Chicago and up north and in the areas I used to be at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you on that one. So, how was it growing up in Chicago, and what area did you grow up in?
Chicago is tough, you know. Chicago was a rough city, but it's more of a comedic city. So it's more like the comedy push you for greatness. If you're not ready, you'll be known. It'll let you know. You step up to the plate on something and you can't take the criticism or the ridicule or the push to be better or the person in contention already that knew about it, you're gonna have the sad walk going home. So it was a couple summers I experienced in that. And no matter what I was in, I used to play basketball mostly. So most of my life I go to the local rec, playing ball, trying to get better, get my handles together. If I could dunk or shoot, then I got to get my rebounds and my defense. So it always pushed me playing ball up until my early 20s. I was rapping here and there, but you know, I really got serious about it back around like from 14 to 20 is when I got serious, and really them 7 years. By 21, I was like, let me try at this. So yeah, and then south side of Chicago, that's where I pretty much grew up at, you know.
So, growing up on the South Side, that's obviously like one of the more famous areas in Chicago. So, what makes the South Side of Chicago so popular to the people that's not from Chicago?
You got the south side, you got the west side, you got the north side, you got the east side. South side is more East Coast and all this stuff coming from Detroit. We got Indiana close by. You know, we got the down south kind of vibe. The west side got more like a Cali, more of a Texas, UGK. That's where you got Do or Die. Poe Pimp and all that was influenced. End up getting on rap a lot because that's more of a California west side. They're more no side is cleaner. It's all the streets when you unravel and peel back the layers. But the south side, the west side is more of a, they were probably first into the lean and the heavy using narcotics. The south side was more so people would get into the disco and, you know, hanging out more so, dancing more so, trying to better themselves. It wasn't just a criminal side. All sides was tough. Then you got the north side is kind of people who work downtown, who live in no high rises. So I'm gonna just leave it like that. And then you got the east side is more like by the river. It's south side, southeast is included in the south side when you say the south side, because Roosevelt and Madison is the dividing line. It goes that far to maybe 200th Street on the left side and 200th Street on the right side. So the south side goes up in numbers, the west side goes up in names. So it's like names, you gotta combine the main street and catch the other cross streets. So it's not a number system, but it may be 100 names. You got to get to know some L town, K town. So it's a bunch of names with L's, a bunch of names with K on the west side. On the south side, it started Roosevelt, which is 12th Street, and it goes up 13, 14, 15, 16, all the way up. And that's where you got the old blocks. It's like 63rd to 64. They really beefing in like a mile territory in the 60s. So the south side go up. Then you got Chinatown on the 22nd Street. It's a Chinese area with all the Middle Eastern, not Middle Eastern, Vietnamese and people from China and Japan and stuff like that would come fellowship. But not to be, I don't really know the schematics of it, but it's a town for those type of foreigner people like that. Then you got 31st Street, that's more Hispanic, and you got Hispanics all pretty much all over, but the Hispanic community is involved in different parts of it too. Pilsen, different areas.
Okay, I got you on that.
Yeah.
So, not to go too much into depth and stuff like that, why is the violence in Chicago so high? Because I heard that your enemy can literally be on the next street from you. So why is the violence in Chicago so high? Especially from, I mean, it's always been kind of high, but from the early 2010s to now.
Yeah, it kind of started me, be honest, I could go anywhere in Chicago on foot with no pistol, no butter knife, no slingshot, nobody I could call that pull right up, no 18 van pulling up. But right around 9/11, around 2000 is when it started getting territorial. And before that in Chicago was probably after certain race riots and certain violence and things like that happened. Presidents and guys got killed. It was more just to protect that block so your mother and them could go get bread and family members could do that. But nowadays it got it to where all the leaders are gone. So the leadership is gone and there's nobody really to have different laws or govern what should be done right or wrong. So you could basically walk off your porch and just get it cracking. So it's like, hopefully it'll change if it's jobs and opportunities, but it just seemed to be a cycle, like a retaliation, the killings or retaliation killings. It could be something that happened in 1958 that somebody just walked to the corner store and recruit. So it just will keep going like that. But the violence is more so, like I say, it's more comedy. It's more competitive. Somebody get mad if their girl get took or different things like that. You got the material stuff in the play, keeping up with that, what car, what jewelry, your clothes. So it's a combination of things. You can't just blame one thing for the cancer and for the epidemics that's going on in there. But, hopefully more jobs, more parents talking to their children, the things that they can control before they get 21 and can spend those nights out. Then it's pretty much what they want to do. It's how they were reared to grow up.
Right, right. I
It's
got
kinda
you on
tough.
that one. Yeah. I got you. So, who were some of your early music influences? Because you said you've been doing music since like your early teenage years. So, who was your early music
Yeah.
influences?
For a while, my beginnings, I was just my humble early beginnings. I was a fan. My humble beginnings, my core fan. My influences in music. I would say I like the West Coast vibe early when I first started having an ear before I started going to actual hip hop events. I like NWA. I like MC8. I was West Coast heavily influenced.
Shout
Spice
out
One,
MCA.
yeah, Spice One. My cousin would come in with UGK. Then he would play Reasonable Doubt, different things like that. He'll pull up. Like I said, he's from the West Side, so he would come back with those type of vibes. I'm talking about 13, 12. When you really, I heard different stuff, African Bambatas and Grandmaster Flash and the Christmas songs and Curtis Blow, but I didn't know that was all East Coast. Then I started seeing movies like Breaking and Beat Street and stuff like that, and just watching the other elements like graffiti and the DJ. Then it all started coming together. Then, like I said, it was heavily West Coast influence at first, and then my dad came in the room and was starting to take certain CDs out there. At first you got like a crate. You got a crate full of CD cassettes. And then me and my cousins, we used to dub. You put a piece of tissue with tape over, and you could have a Patti LaBelle CD, a Patti LaBelle cassette, and record NWA or Dr. Dre and whatever was over there. So then my father started figuring out, I was like, well, you got Patti LaBelle or James Brown. You don't know about this. But then he started seeing the tape. He said we was duping over. So then my father pretty much flushed East Coast influenced music, I guess, because he liked Public Enemy and started hearing that type of stuff. And then I never forget when Ice Cube Lethal Injection came out, he was with Public Enemy. So I was like, see, Dad, the West Coast, he going to that. So then I was just listening to that, I'll be honest, like 13, 14, 15. Then my older brother and some of his partners, one of his partners had a turntable in his basement. And we would go through there, and he just would be scratching. He's a lot of East Coast stuff, Dougie Fresh and KRS Ones and stuff like that. So I started listening around there. Nas started to be around my age, a little bit older, but just a guy my age that was growing. He did Illmatic and Half Man, Half Amazing, all that stuff with Peak Rock, The World Is Yours. So around 92, most of the hip hop that was out around 92 to 96. I was probably about 16, 15, a little bit in that range, but I still would hear that type of music and it'd be like it's beating out the West Coast stuff, because the West Coast, not that it was violence and kept guys with the gang culture. You see guys with their muscles out with a do-rag, and then you worried about that, the colors and all that, where to go, and the graffiti. But it was like the East Coast that would listen to those Stop the Violence records, and then, like I said, KRS One, That Love's Gonna Get You. It was giving you an end game to choose how it could end if you looking cool with the Mercedes and the flock cars right now, you know. So I started listening to the messages and the stuff like that. So then the Wu-Tang was a powerhouse group. They had a lot of knowledge of self, and I see how that incorporated with Islam and sovereignty and Hebrew and the 5% doctrine, the knowledge of self and your surroundings. So that was an influential group, you know. KRS, Coogee Rap, you know, a lot of crews like that. And it's just pretty much who's out right now, you know, like just in the hip hop lane, you know. DJ Premier, he does a lot. Alchemist does a lot.
Shout out DJ Premier.
Yeah, Alchemist, a lot of guys he does projects with. You know, I like Griselda Records to an extent, what they got going on. It's a lot they got going on, but like I said, I'm not fully in the streets anymore, but nor am I a pastor. But it's like I'm in the middle. So it's like, you know, I listen to some of the stuff, the beats. You know, Rock Marciano's a dope MC. I like the MF Doom. You know, that was a classic MC, the way he would do it with the mask and the comic books and the dope backstories on his characters and alter egos. Madlib, I like his production. There's a lot of people that just East Coast, West Coast. Like I say, UGK, I rock with them. Slim Thug, like down south in Houston, Chicago. Definitely rock with D-Rec and Twister. You know, different people like that. Some of my partners, my people, I rock with a lot of people heavy influenced by people that's doing good things, you know.
Nah, real talk, I definitely feel that there. Off camera, you was telling me how you knew some of those Griselda guys in the beginning. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. Shout out to my homie Prime up at Covert Operations. You know, he networking with him, networking personally with him, you know, and knew him through some people in the pipeline through the network in Chicago. And just gave him a call. You know, he told me about some performing and opening opportunities. So, you know, I met the guys, met them, Stove God, West Side.
Shout out Stove God and West Side.
Conway, Benny the Butcher, met all them guys, you know, and most of the guys back behind the scenes, El Camino. So yeah, it was a time like, say, 2014, 2019 on their run. I was influenced by their music and what they had going on, and just got on the ticket to some of the shows, and we got busy, and it kind of helped broaden my fan base doing that. Got on certain radio shows, syndicate stuff, and podcasts and whatnot, you know. But like I said, my style was kind of like that. You know, it's always like that was my line, that was my idea, that was my this. But it's all like a big pot, you know, a stew, the gumbo, what to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But my style right now is different. Must withstand all that. So it's like, you know, yeah, by meeting them, it's still my style that I got to do, things I got to do for my career, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense. So you would say on their rise to fame, they would do a lot of shows in Chicago. So Buffalo and Chicago was kind of connected in the mid 2010s and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they would come in town. There'd be people that from my side that would come. There's different sides of town that would come. They were heavily influenced by Chicago. You even look at some of their album covers. They had Jordan on the cover, different stuff they would mention, and even the Wu-Tang. They would say, delegate the gods, a sea god. That means Chicago, sea god. When you break it down to Pig Latin, if it was Pig Latin or terminology of formerly Ebonics, it's always somebody in Chicago, or they could hold them down, and it'd be not a check-in, because Chicago, I don't know, I don't really hear the check-in and all that, but it's like it's always somebody that you need to know to get you the things you need to go to places you need to go. You know what I'm saying? You don't see too many people get hurt in Chicago. It'd be just hurt in Chicago, but the artists seem to get back to their hotels, get back to where they is, what they doing, So it's all a form of networking. So yeah, I was in the mix of that, but I was going as an artist. There was times I could have been a driver for him. Some of the wrestling events West had going on. So I could, it was certain levels that I could have took, but me, I'd rather know him and meet him as an artist, as an entertainer. So that's why the opportunities I pressed on and jumped on board was to perform, whether it was 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then that give you your motivation. Or if you had, me and my brother, we was doing shows already. We did like 4 shows in Chicago before we ever met him. So it wasn't like I bought in and just helped me. We was doing what we had to do. It was just even getting in the to open up for him, you had to be battle tested, because I'm quite sure they had an audition and who they gonna let be on stage before I pull up to be comfortable to hold that crowd down. So we did a couple of them type shows with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
Much
definitely
love to
understand
him.
that for sure, man. So
Much love to my man COVID Operations for that.
man, shout out Griselda, man. Definitely one of the most lyrical artists in the game right now, for sure. But I want to talk about all the projects, man, you got on Apple Music and Spotify, man. You got over 10 albums, man. So what was your motivation to drop so many projects, man? Can you elaborate on that, man?
Shit, my motivation, man, I just was standing around one day and I was like, either I'm gonna do it or I'm not gonna do it. And it comes to a point where you hope one catch the inferno, then you could be doing the next thing, doing some shows or doing this. But it was just like my body of work, and you got to start at one, and the one is having an album so people could like, and then you got to have a sophomore jinx. See if you wasn't just an overnight success. See if you were a paper champ. You were a boxer. You got to get up there and fight 5 people to see if you number one. You can't just knock 2 people out. Then they're gonna be, oh, you knocked the fat dude out, or you knocked the skinny dude out.
Right.
Small person out. So you got that versatility. And then I came to a point where it's just like I had to do a project for certain people. I had to do a lyrical project for people that can do that. Then I had to do a baby food, like an A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So not using big words, I had to use simple words and different stuff. So if you look back through my catalog, then I had some shit that y'all know you can't keep up with me. You can't fuck with me, so I'm gonna drown you with this one. But now it's to the point where, like I said, it's a lot of people jumping in, diving into it, but now it's gonna show the difference between an artist, a real artist, versus a rapper, versus stuff. That's what I'm taking it to. Like, let my talent in the next projects I do, is you gonna even forget about them other ones and shit. That's how I'm coming. So,
Nah, real talk. So how would you describe your style as far as rapping and your beat selection and stuff like that? How would you describe that?
Since I don't produce, I gotta have some arrogant, cocky type production. Like, it gotta be something to be like, oh, them beats is hard. You know what I'm saying? How I would describe it is kind of like an elite. You ain't gonna hear it no more, and then I have to get a dope beat, so then I could say I can't let the beat beat me. So then I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna beat the beat. So it'd be me and the beat fight. So that's why some of them beats, some of the time the beat, you remember that one, and sometimes you remember what I was talking about one. Then, like you said, I got a track called Solomon. Y'all check that out. I want to promote it.
One of
more,
my
but
favorite songs for sure, man.
Yeah, I ain't put a video behind it. That's why I ain't promoted, but it got stupid numbers by its own. But Solomon, that's like one of them beats that's crazy. And I was like, oh, it's so crazy and pandemonium. I had to beat the beat. So yeah, man, I just mix it up how I do it like that. Those are my ingredients. Like, it gotta be a crazy beat that's like, oh shit, you scared to rap on it for one, so you heard it, and even little kids and your grandma and the girls is moving to it, and stop everybody putting the groceries down. And then, like I said, it's just, I gotta beat the beat. Me and the beat is having a fight. I ain't gonna let the beat just be like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So let me ask you this. How important is networking and going to different spots, networking with producers, media outlets, other artists? How important is that?
It's very important until you devise your strategy and your team. Sometimes I would say one ways and 2 ways. If you first starting out, that's very important, but always in your mind, you have to have a project ready, what you're doing. If you're finding talent for your project or producer for your project, or you got an in-house budget and what you're gonna do. But it's like, if you got your producer that's letting you get not beats for free, but working with you, y'all trading off something.
You're doing some
talent,
back end
y'all
type of
doing some
paperwork.
things, y'all working with each other. Like, if you blow, he gonna open up, or that vice versa. That's different. Somebody that believe in you, that's what you need. If you don't have that already, you definitely need to be going networking. you first got to take it serious. If this is seriously what you want to do, and you have to have the content and the stories, like what you're gonna be talking about on those projects. You know, let's say you got 4 albums. You got, like I'm just mentioned, you got to know 4 different projects what you're gonna be talking about. Unless you're telling a story like a trilogy, like Matrix or a Star Wars, it got to be every character you bring in. Your feature artist got to come in like Han Solo or R2D2, so people could go in their backstory. But then it comes to the cost. Some people be like, they need 10,000 for that feature, and you can't pull up on them and meet them and sit down with them. It's all internet based, and sometimes people don't have the budget for that. That's different, unless it's a major artist that's gonna give fans, and then he may even charge you for the video where it look like you somebody because you that close to my elbows buying. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you got that already, most of the stuff I talked about, then you just, like I said, you got to go ahead and do 3, 4 albums, and then try to get that 5th one launching from your input, where you could put it up on a different platform and try to get most of the money first for 2 weeks or a month for you put it on a regular platform where everybody could touch. You try to get some 100 days promoted. That's like some of my projects, I promoted it for 50 days, 100 days, 30 days to try to get pre-orders, but you should put out one video and don't let nobody hear it for 3 months unless they buy it. But that's once you get up to a certain level, if you're doing it the independent way, because when you sign to certain labels, they might try to use your likeness and use different ways of promotion on your stuff. So I believe networking and trying to put your puzzle together is very important, man. Because with you with that label, they gonna put it together for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now that definitely makes sense 100%. Would you ever sign to a major label?
I don't know. It depends. It depends on what's the necessary requirements first and foremost. If it's some things I can't sleep at night with, nah. If it's some things that use my likeness forever, certain deals where I'm buying it forever, then probably not. But for the right opportunity where I could make a nice amount of income flowing forever, and even when I'm gone and my kids, and then maybe. But if I could find a way to do it by myself, then hell no. You know?
Nah, that makes sense most definitely, because sometimes people sign a record deal and sometimes they feel like the major label is holding them back, and they can't be 100% creative the way they want to.
That too. You know, your creativity, your likeness, your
My bad.
the likeness, my creativity, how long the deal, like I say, what it consists of. It'd be other producers. Yeah, I'm feeding the birds sometimes, you know. Yeah. Checking feeding the ducks. Sometimes y'all gotta give back, man.
Oh yeah, y'all see that, man. Hey man, don't be selfish, man.
Y'all give
You gotta
back.
feed everybody, man.
Yeah, but like I said, depending on the label and the work that's necessary. But you know, I consider it to an extent. But like I say, it got to be the right thing. My lawyer.
It gotta make sense though.
Yeah, it got to make sense.
Okay, 100%. Nah, I definitely understand that for sure, man. But last question, man. What you got coming up? What you got going on in the future, man? Let the people know.
Yo, I got this album. I'm thinking about calling this name, but I ain't gonna say it just yet till I put it out. I got a new album about to drop soon. I say about a month, 2 weeks max. It's coming. Then after that, I got another project. So I got 2 projects that I could stand behind. That's gonna shake up some things, and that's pretty much it. Like, you know, other projects I got, these other first ones got to drop. So y'all worry about that first. See, I got 2 projects coming. Hopefully, one by the end of this year. And the next one, like I say, coming early top of the year, first quarter, fourth and first quarter. So,
Now, most definitely,
open and
man.
close.
Yeah, you most definitely. You definitely one of my favorite artists to listen to as of today, man. You lyrical, man. You definitely a dope storyteller, man. You know, you not putting out fast food type of music, man. You putting out home cooked meal type of music, man. So I definitely can appreciate that as someone who really likes real hip hop and stuff like that, man. But look, I appreciate you, man. You know, for coming on the platform and stuff like that, man. Go ahead and let everybody know where they can follow you at, stuff like that, man.
Yeah, y'all check me out, Sonny Blanco, at Sonny Blanco, SONNY_Blanco, BLANCO77 on the Instagram, on the YouTube. Y'all just type in Sonny Blanco on Spotify. You type it in. It's on all the streaming platforms. Yeah, more to come, man. Let's go. Let's
Nah,
get it.
100, man. Appreciate you, man.